minutes with
Oh, approve the minutes?
Yeah, because they're gonna ask you to approve the minutes since you asked prior to.
No, we can approve the minutes because the minutes are accurate. And then we can just ask.
Please.
Used to be a
The
jump.
meeting has started on TV.
Okay. Call to order today's meeting of the Brownfield Advisory Board. Today is September 29th, 2021. Welcome, everyone. Agendas of today's meetings are on the wall at the entrance to chambers. Please remember to turn off your cell phones. To ensure a complete record of the board's actions, we ask that each individual wishing to speak clearly state your name and spell your last name for the clerk. I will ask each board member to introduce themselves and identify board positions each of you represent. For example, resident, business owner or representative, or agency governmental representative. I am Board Chair Joe DeSico, and I am the governmental representative in Clearwater. Ms. Branch?
Yes. Janelle Branch. I'm a member of the advisory board, and I'm here as a business owner.
Thank you. Ms. Carter?
She's not here yet.
Not here, okay. Ms. Hart?
I'm Sue Hart. I am a private citizen.
Mr. Hinson?
I'm Thomas Henson Jr. I'm a business owner in the North Greenwood area.
Thank you. Ms. Jenkins?
Ladrilla Jenkins, a resident.
Ms. Lydia? Mr. Perry?
Mark Perry, Planning and Development, and also a resident.
Ms. Phillips?
Julie Phillips. I also work for Planning and Development Agency.
Okay, I said I'm Joe DeSico, board chair. So, our second order of business is to approve the minutes of the board's October 13th, 2020 meeting. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. Is there anyone here to speak on items not on today's agenda? If so, please step to the podium and state your name and spell your last name for the record. You have 3 minutes to speak on a subject that is not on today's agenda. Okay, seeing no one come forward, we will move on to the next item. New business. Our next item is to adopt rules and regulations for Brownfield's Advisory Board. Mr. Kirkpatrick will verbally review the rules and regulations.
I'm Phil Kirkpatrick. I'm with Economic Development Department and Economic Development and Housing Department, excuse me. I'm not going to read all of it word for word, just try to summarize. Fundamentally, Article 3, members serve a 4-year term and may serve 2 consecutive terms. After leaving the board, you can return, but it's only 2 consecutive. Article 4, officers and their duties. There's a chair and a vice chair. Duty is to preside at the meetings. The vice chair's duty is to serve in the absence of the chair. Article 5, election of officers. The reason it's on the agenda is officers are to be elected the first meeting of the year. The person receiving the majority of votes wins, and vacancies are to be filled immediately by regular election should they occur, but there's only a chair and a vice chair. Terms of office for the officers is 1 year, and then every year we'll do a new election of officers. Meetings are called either by the chair or by the staff liaison, which is me. Whenever possible, you're supposed to get 24 hours notice. We try to do far better than that. When you get an invitation, if you're unable to attend, which is no one here is in that situation, you should respond and let me know so we can anticipate. In the event we're not going to have a quorum, we can avoid unnecessary meetings. City Council has the power to remove any member for misconduct or negligence of duty, neglect of duty, I apologize. The city manager can actually remove a member for consecutive absences, excessive absences. Quorum is 5 members. It's simple majority rules for those in attendance. All board meetings and records are open to the public. Me, as staff liaison, will present all agenda items to be addressed. If you have an agenda item you want to be put on, just let me know, and we'll take care of it. Parliamentary procedure, Robert Rules of Order, applies in all cases with one exception. The chair is not permitted to either make a motion or second a motion. Voting's by verbal, by aye or not, nay. And no person in the meeting may speak may speak more than once on the same subject. Each speaker limits comments to 3 minutes. That's probably more for public comment. Is that for board as well?
No, that is for non-members.
Non-members only. Oh, yeah. Non-member, I apologize. And that's it. Let's see, there's more coming.
Any comments or questions from anyone on the board? Does anyone in the public wish to comment on this item?
Do we have any comments? No, I did not receive that. Okay, thank you.
No?
Need a motion to approve.
May I have a motion to approve?
So moved?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, rules and regulations are approved. Item 4.2, report of funds and grants awarded. Mr. Kirkpatrick will verbally report on what funds and grants have been awarded.
The city has 2 programs that have been approved or awarded this year. The first of which is what we're referring to it as the Brownfield Assessment and Cleanup Program grant. We used monies from the prior revolving loan fund that has been essentially repaid now. And this gives us, currently, our balance is $228,000 is available in that grant. And an additional, I'm saying that wrong, 471,000 is available currently, and approximately 228,000 is to be repaid by the CRA when I would believe that will occur when the South Martin Luther King site, the Clearwater Auto site, is sold. That will bring the total in that program to $700,000. That program is intended to fund both assessments and cleanup grants or remediation. Yes?
What is CRA?
Oh, I apologize for the acronym. Community Redevelopment Agency.
Thank you.
I apologize. I'll try to do better. So it's available for both assessments and remediation. If anyone doesn't know the terminology, just speak up and let me know, because I'm glad to explain it. Assessments can be provided to both tax exempt and tax paying or for-profit entities. In the event it's a for-profit entity, the city will have to directly contract and pay for that work. The money cannot go to a tax-paying or for-profit entity. Tax exempt are qualified for both assessments and remediation. We have project liaisons that are designated by the grant program. One is Florida Gulf Coast Commercial Realtors. That's an association of brokers, commercial brokers, and it's the head of that group. The managing or director of the National Association of Industrial and Office Properties use the acronym NAOP. That person's serving in that capacity, as well as the director for ULI. So, let's see. The other program, again, that's $700,000 rounding off to $698,000 approximately. The other program we have, we were just awarded in May of this year. We applied last year at the end of October, and the government chose to award us $300,000. These are for assessments only, and can include either tax exempt or for-profit entities. So like a real estate developer is an example that could proceed with this. Key goals of the program are environmental justice and community health. So we want to pay close attention when we get applications, and if we should have competing applications, those would be, it will obviously be your call, the board's decision, but I think those would be key at that point. We have additional individuals in this program supporting us. David Bennett, who's the head of the Pinellas County Board of Realtors, it's called Pinellas Realtor Organization. Amanda Payne, who is the executive director of Amplify Clearwater, formerly the Chamber of Commerce. Marilyn Turman, who's the director of the Clearwater Urban Leadership Coalition. And Dan Nedvedic, who is a Brownfields coordinator for Pinellas County. Help us with technical stuff as well. And that's it. Any questions
Thank
for
you.
me? Okay.
Any comments or questions from the board? Does anyone from the public wish to comment on this item?
Bill, may I address a couple of things?
Yes.
Thank you. So I'd like to clarify a statement for the record. The additional funds under the Brownfield Assessment and Cleanup Grant Program, the repayment of the loan is actually for the CarPro site located on Cleveland Street. It's currently in post-active remediation monitoring. When we receive conditional release of that site or full release of that site, or at such time that the CRA chooses to repay that note, they can do so, and that will provide the additional funds into that program. I believe Phil referenced a site on South MLK, and that is not the correct site. So it is the CarPro site that will add those additional funds to that program. Also want to clarify or add to Phil's explanation on the Brownfield assessment grant recently received from the EPA. Staff has the authority to approve those requests for phase 1 and phase 2 assessments. And the reason staff retains that responsibility is because those assessments are often requested during a due diligence period when a piece of property may be under contract and time is of the essence. Any additional activities requested by the applicant will come before this board for their consideration. This board does not have the authority to approve. This board has the authority to, as an advisory board, to recommend staff approve this. Any expenses that may exceed in total for a single project $100,000 does require council approval for our procurement policies. So any projects that may exceed that dollar amount, this board will receive and make recommendation to City Council, who will then review that project under those procurement rules. Happy to answer any questions that come from that. All right, thank you so much. Thanks, Bob.
Does anyone else from the public wish to comment on this item? Okay, can I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second?
Second.
I think it's just before. Yeah, there's no action.
There's no action on
Okay.
that. Just information.
Okay. Okay, our next item is a report of received or pending applications for environmental grants. Mr. Kirkpatrick, would you review any filed or pending applications?
Yes, sir. We have not received any applications as of yet. We have a pending application from the Community Redevelopment Agency, and that is for the 200 block of South Martin Luther King. The intention, they will build affordable housing at that location. They have identified during some due diligence on that property an underground concrete vault, and they may decide to apply for a grant to get that removed. The other that is not decided to move on is the possibility the city will apply for a grant for the old North Ward Elementary School. There's a heating oil tank there. There may be other issues, but those are the only two pending applications. And that's the end of my report on that. Any questions?
Yes. You indicated affordable housing by the community redevelopment on MLK. Where's the location?
Where's the location? Chuck, can you help me with the orientation on that? This is Chuck's managing that project. Chuck Lane.
My name's Chuck Lane, Assistant Director, Economic Development and Housing Department. So it's across the street from the Nolan. It's across the street, MLK from the Nolan. It's bordered by MLK, Washington to the east, Gould to the south, and I believe Pierce to the north. That's the block it's on.
Douglas Glass, used to, on Cleveland Street there were businesses there, because I know Washington and
Yeah, it's a couple
Madison.
blocks south of
Yeah,
Cleveland.
okay.
If you go down, you go south on MLK from Cleveland, and it's 2 blocks down on the left. That's where the site will be. It's a big vacant site. It's going to be 171 units. All of the units are reserved for workforce housing, which means it's income restricted to a degree, and there's varying income levels down to 80% of area median income. So it's a good mixed income project, and it's something that the city will very much benefit from if we can get it pulled together.
Intergenerational with different generations, you know, elderly.
Yeah, there's no age requirements,
Okay.
so it's open to all.
Okay.
Do you know what the status of that project is? Like, it was,
We hit a little bump with the financing of it. So we're trying to pull together an alternative financing strategy. And it's something that it looks positive right now. It's going to take a little bit more time. We'll know more in the next month or two as to how that's going to work out. But it's a partnership between us, the developer, and potentially the Clearwater Housing Authority to do some tax-exempt bond financing. So it's a little bit complicated, something we haven't done before, so we have to step through it carefully.
yeah. If I'm not mistaken, and I'm not, they went through and they got a flexible development application approved. I'm just going to suggest just keep an eye on the expiration date in the approval development order in case they're getting close to when they're required to submit for permit. I would just recommend that somebody keep an eye on that, and if you need to make an extension of that approval, to submit it prior to the expiration of the development order.
Okay, I'll
Yeah,
call
just-
you if I need to do that.
Yeah, you can do that.
I appreciate that heads up.
Yeah, just a heads
take
up.
look at that. Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you.
Okay. Our next item is the Brownfield Project Manager Report. Mr. Kirkpatrick, would you report to the board?
Yes. We filed a closeout report on the revolving loan fund. As I mentioned earlier, at the end of October, it was the 5th annual and final report required by the EPA on that fund. And it was accepted and approved by the EPA shortly thereafter. Of note is we used the monies from that fund to create this other program, what I called the Brownfield Assessment and Cleanup Grant Program. And it was the first one done in Region 4 of the EPA. You can come on up. Lori?
Yes.
Spot it. This is Lori Carter.
No.
Hi.
Lori was trapped by traffic, I think, to some extent. In terms of old business, if you will, the past activities on that program, we have engaged in an email campaign at this point. Approximately 3,000 different targeted folks, to include land development engineers, environmental consultants, local commercial real estate brokers, local building contractors, architects, attorneys, and ULI members, thinking they might be able to influence and refer business to us. The city's homepage also has I'll call it a sub-page related to this program as well, along with a link to the application and the program guidelines. For future activities, we'll continue to do mass emails to influential professionals. We're going to begin the outreach to community organizations seeking referrals and word of mouth promotion. I personally will be meeting with design professionals, financial institutions, and others to make sure they know this fund's available. We will be, as mentioned earlier, we'll be reaching out to the Realtors Organization, Amplified Clearwater, the Clearwater Urban Leadership Coalition, the Pinellas County Brownfield Program Manager, the Gulf Coast Commercial Association of Realtors, the National Association of Industrial and Office Professionals, and ULI as well. As to the MAC grant program, which is the $300,000 assessment grant program, we will be updating the city's website to include that program on the city's website, along with, I believe we can get an application in there. Our marketing group within economic development and housing will be working to place information on social media to help with the outreach. And then there'll be city news and calendar announcement emails to help promote that as well. And that concludes my report for what's been going on so far. I would like to add at the end of this is all brand new to me. I've worked in private business doing real estate development and commercial side for 35 years. And it's completely new working in a city. And although I presented to city councils for entitlement issues and such as a development guy, I've been responsible to some extent for creating, organizing this, and I've done less than a perfect job. So thank you for your patience with me. I hope to get better in the near future. Any questions?
Yeah. Questions or comments from the board for Mr. Kirkpatrick? Does anyone from the public wish to comment on this item? Okay, thank you. Our next item is election of officers.
We'd like to take nominations for chair, please.
I think Joe's doing a fantastic job.
Let it stay as it is.
Right there.
I'd like to move to appoint Joe.
Yes, I move to appoint Joe.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Not broke, don't fix it.
Thank you.
You can handle the vice.
Okay.
Not broke, don't fix it.
We will need to nominate a vice chair at this time. Do we have any nominations?
I nominate Mark Perry.
Can I second?
No.
I can't second.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Mark Perry has been elected vice chair for this committee. I think that's it, right? The next. We have the next item is board members to be heard. As acting chair, I have following comments. I actually don't have any comments, but do any board members or any old or new business to discuss? Have any comments or questions? Ms. Branch?
I'm over here, and
Sorry, sorry. Ms. Carter? Any questions or comments?
Not at this time.
Okay. Ms. Hart?
None?
No. Mr. Henson?
Not at this time. I just want to say that just keep on working at it. You'll get good at it.
Thank you.
Ms. Jenkins?
None. I'm good.
Mr. Perry?
Just that I appreciate the effort that you all put into getting your reports together and everything, so thank you.
Ms. Phillips?
I have nothing.
Well, our next board meeting will be scheduled to occur 30 to 60 days from today, subject to the receipt of applications or other pertinent business. We will meet here in council chambers, the main library. The board is adjourned. Thank you.